Hello, Divine Ones! Welcome! Today, the guides are going to be sharing an energetic tune-up, an energy, attunement, like an energetic, in your energetic body, in your energy field, and they're saying energy bodies, energy field, because the field that you hold informs the sights that you see before you. And your collective agreement is based upon everything that is in the field. And this is changing. So we wish to support this change because indeed your physical body is changing, your energy body is changing, and your electromagnetic field is changing. Everything is changing. And we say this to the ones we know, resist change much. Human. Resist change, which is what you are, the thing that always is. You are always in a flux, you are always changing. So we wish to support this. So you may put your heart at ease, your mind at ease, as you move through the coming times, which may seem very up and down for you, highs and lows, and everything in between. We wish to talk about this, the melancholy that sometimes comes about, the feelings of like, what's the point, and I don't know, but more than this. Okay. The times that are before you, and the times that you have agreed to previously that you no longer wish to agree to. And although you might not know this on an intellectual level, you definitely know it on a soul level. And what is happening here for some people, and eventually for all people to some degree or another, is that you no longer fall in alignment with the things you used to love. And we like to use things like holidays and celebrations as a good way of kind of expressing this, so that you might get the understanding, is that things that used to bring you joy, the birthday cake, the surprise, the gifts, the holiday traditions, they used to bring us so much joy. Stop bringing the joy. And then you wonder, why? Why am I not excited about this holiday? It's Christmas, or the Easter, or the birthday, and I used to get so much joy out of having these types of celebrations. Because they're not saying everybody, because they are showing me that some people despise these type of celebrations because of like family strain. But they're using this as an example, and you can use this in any area of your life, any arena of your life, they say. So, the things that used to bring you great joy, you might even say it is success or your job, anything. And then you start to find, why is this not bringing you joy? They're even talking to me about like my own like spiritual practices that I had previously, and the joy, and then I had like lost that joy, or I stopped experiencing like the blissful feelings around that. And so it's tied into this, and I'm wondering if they're going to bring more about this. Indeed we will. Because it is these types of things that you start to have a melancholy about, and you feel a sense of responsibility to show up in ways that you used to show up, and to be the person that other people want you to be, or that you think you should be, and to celebrate in ways or behave in ways that you no longer wish to, you don't feel called to, and you don't feel joy around them. But you keep going through it, like day by day. They're showing me like a robot, like just keep going through it like a assembly line. You keep going through it like this. You don't want to. It's not bringing you the joy anymore. And this is part of the process, is because in fact all of these things, including like celebrations and even like religions and things, and things that you have agreed to before, you will no longer agree to. And we have talked about the new earth children, and they will no longer agree to the same things that you did. So when they come, and as they come, so they're coming now. And as they've said previously, like more will come, much more, many more will come in like generations to come, more will come. And they will hold a higher vibrational frequency in that will not allow them to be in alignment and agreement to the things that you have collectively agreed to now. They will not is agreement the right word? Yes, they will not agree to this. They cannot agree to that, because within them, woven into them, and even though it's woven into you as well, it is woven into them differently. How is it woven into them differently? So when you came, you had a knowing or an agreement to experience certain things at a lower density. When they come, they will have an agreement to experiencing things at a higher level, not to the lower, denser field. Will be a higher field, and as such, they will not be able to agree to the things that you agree to. This doesn't mean it won't be without its challenges, or they won't be without challenges. It means that the way that they navigate the challenges will be very different. Then these are the times that sit before you, and you find that you no longer feel very inspired at some points in time to do and show up in the ways that you would previously. And we wish to bring through an energy attunement for this today, and a message about this as well. Okay, and so I am just going to mention to you also that you might notice that my hand is red. I burned myself 3 weeks ago on like broth. So I was making a vegetable broth, and I burned myself, 2nd-degree burns, and it's been wrapped up and blistered, and finally it's healing. And it's pretty pink because it's all new skin, and I don't know how long that's going to last for, but you're probably going to see that in a few videos, and I don't know for how long. So I just want to let you know, don't be alarmed, but you might see that, and I don't know how long it's going to be for. But in any case, I just wanted to mention that to you. So if you see it, you don't think like what's happening, and write something in the comments box. Oh, you can write whatever you want, but I'm just saying, like, it's nothing to be alarmed about. It is healing. As you all are on a healing journey. So we use this word journey for you because you like your journeys. And indeed, you could call it this because it is like a span of what you would call time, into the state of timelessness. Moving into the vortex, where time no longer exists. Actually, it has never existed. And part of this is your energetic bodies. They are changing. And to support this, I'm asking how. Lighter, brighter, and like you would tune up a car. This is going to be tuned up with new, is this the right word? Synapses? Like new, like electrical currents that come like a fuse blows. Is now like going to be like the fuse comes back, like rewired. It's like an energetic rewiring, and our transmission today is to support this. And the physical body, because the changes that you are experiencing, that you have experienced and you will continue to experience, are a result of the ability to hold the higher frequency. You are moving into a higher plane. And we use these words for you in terms of moving. Don't think that you are like putting on a backpack and you're going on a long trek. Not like this. You are moving vibrationally, and your physical body is very dense and heavy, and it is lightening up, but only to the degree that it can. And it's individual and collective. Can you tell me how each individual's person's body is also collective? Well, you have a collective agreement to take a form in this way, and you have made many agreements that you wish to abide by and adhere to. And those that are asleep at the wheel and wish to remain so, wish to keep the status quo. We've said this lots. And you were born into this agreement. This a collective agreement, like we talked about the new earth children. They will come with a new agreement to a new alignment and a new frequency. Just like you came in to this frequency with the knowing, and this is like a soul knowing or a heart's knowing, like a beyond intellect. You came with a knowing that you would be raising the field, the vibration of the field. You came with a knowing, like encoded in you, that you would be uplifting humanity. And this is not like you are saying, like, I am the savior of humanity. Not like this. Like you realize your interdependence and your interconnectedness, and you act as such. And you sow the seeds of the higher vibration in the field, or you plant the seeds of the higher vibration in the field for the new earth children. And you came with this knowing that this would be part of what you are doing, even though you all have individual like roles, purpose. You all have your individual. You also have like an individual like contract, karma. You all have your individual like soul level purpose. Yes, they say let's leave it at this. They're telling me that's good enough. Yeah, and you have a heart's knowing, and that you would be coming into this denser field and upraising it, and they will have their agreement and their alignment that they will be coming into a higher field and anchoring it. You will be raising it. Yes, you are anchoring it. You are anchoring it in your physical body, like in the energy field and in your physical body. And like a light bulb, as we've said before, you can't just take a 1,000-watt bulb and plug it in to something that has only taken 40 watts. You would surely have an explosion. So this we do not want, and it cannot be. So it's to the degree that each of you aligns with this, so that you are raised, and your body, your physical body. So your physical body will go through many changes. So will your emotional body. And you may cry the tears that you don't understand why you're crying them. It is like a grieving of the loss of like identity and the things you used to love that no longer bring you joy. And it's not even like a conscious thing. It's just like you might have a sadness for just like everything. I'm going to just try to get a little more information about this. It's like a deep sadness, like when the seasons change. And you know that you have said goodbye to like the fall where I am right now is we're coming into fall. You say goodbye to the fall for the winter, and you never know if you're guaranteed a spring. And when spring comes, if it comes, you don't know if it'll ever be the same as it was before, because you're changing. So the flowers that you used to love, the way that you used to tend to your garden, may not ever be the same. And you might not understand this on an intellectual level, but on a soul level, or on a soul level, you know this, and the egoic self, or the small self, is almost like a crying, like the tears of grief, to what was and can never be. And while you might not intellectually know it, you do know it somewhere on one level. And in this way, so I asked, is the soul crying? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And they're saying no. The soul knows, and is shining the light, and is singing the song, and is like the vibration is here, and calling to you. But the small self knows that must relinquish the tethers, the ties, the leash that it held so tight. And as we spoke in a previous message about the time of the diving board, that there is this time when you are mid-air and you have no clue where you're going to land. And we said you're going to land into crystal clear waters. This is going to be a clear knowing. But there is this time where you don't know. And it's perfect. It's perfect, because you will no longer be able to know like intellectually, and this might feel very sad in the physical body, in the emotional body, and in the physical body. The physical body too. Physical body feels this emotion. Feels this pain. They'll talk about this more. Of this time of being like mid-air, you bounce off the diving board like they talked about, and you're mid-air, and nothing is familiar, and you can't go back. You can't go back. And this is the issue. You think that once you take the dive, maybe you could just go back. You can't. You're midair. You can't do it. And if you try, you say, I refuse. I cannot do this. Because at any time, you may go down or back to down in frequency to the lower, to the lower agreement, the lower field. And this is not a problem. Every time you do, it reminds you why you can't be here anymore. Every time you go back, it's painful. You know that. But it doesn't stop you from trying. It's being in alignment. So they're talking to me about this, and I was seeing if we could go past it, and they're like, no. So they want it in. So I'm going to share this. So, I've said before that there's, I have different issues with stomach things, right? Like gluten, dairy, all of it. And just really a lot of sensitivities to a lot of things, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to eat them. And there have been times when I've been like, well, maybe I could just have this gluten-free, pizza thing or something. And then I'm like, oh, why'd I do that? And the guides are saying it's relevant and to share it, because they're saying this is kind of like what it's like. Sometimes you have to go back to the painful thing and go, oh, why am I here again? To remember that this isn't the place for me. This isn't the food for me, they're saying. But I could keep trying as long as I like. They're still going to love me. The time is not running out. And they're saying this to me to say, like, to you, you may fall back down frequency-wise. You might go back and revert to something that gave you great comfort before, only to find that when you do it, it really doesn't hold the same thrill, the same enjoyment. And this is happening all the way around. So like celebrations and birthdays and Christmas and holidays and however you celebrate. So I say the celebrations that I know when they come, but you might celebrate other things. And there's even saying, like, even culturally and religiously, like all of this is sort of being like taken apart. And why? And so because they say that there is like fear and expectancy woven in here, and that needs to be seen. Everything needs to be seen. When you have built your house upon rot, and you covered it up with dirt. Okay, so like a toxic site, like chemicals and oils and things that have been in like the ground. And then builders come in and they try to build a subdivision, so they try to make it really fancy, and they just they put like new grass and new earth and like a sod and a new house, and they say we're going to make it really fancy, and we're going to build all these pathways, and we're going to really entice you and into buying real estate here, even though it's been built on toxic waste. Eventually everybody starts to get sick, and they wonder why. Why is humanity so sick? Why are the people in the subdivision so sick? Because there is toxic waste. What is the way around this? So what happens now is that you all want to blame each other. It was this corporation, it was these people, that people, and all this. That is what the problem is. And we need to get out our shovels, and we're going to try to dig around and take this subdivision and move it over here, so that we're not on the toxic land anymore. We're going to try to save our houses, save everything that we've built, and move it to a different site, because this land over here is toxic. And what you don't realize is that all of it, because your house has been built upon it, not only is your like house sick, the inhabitants are also sick as well. So what needs to happen is the whole structure of the self and the family that lived in the house, whatever that family looks like, the family that lived in the house, and the house itself, all needs to be dismantled, as well as all of the toxins under the earth. And this, you might think, is like, we need to get rid of all of this. We need to get rid of the ego. We need to get rid of, the poisons and everything else. We need to get rid of this. None of this should happen. And all the like warring on the earth and harm done to different groups of people. And they're saying, like, people of color, and all of this, and they're telling me about like Truth and Reconciliation Day, which just happened for us here. So they're saying, all of this now needs to be seen. But what happens as you see it, you start to blame each other and blame groups of people. But all that does is claim you or tether you to the lower field, to the three-dimensional experience, to this lower vibrational experience. All it does is do this. Everything now needs to be seen or re-seen or re-known through the eyes of love. Now, this may be a challenging concept because some of you might say, well, there's absolutely no way that I can re-see anything. I cannot forgive these things. I cannot see these things in love. And they say, yes, the personality self, the small self, the egoic self may not be able to do that. But the true you, the divine you, and divine mind and divine knowing, these are topics we wish to discuss in future, but we plant the seed now. That this is what does the knowing, is what does the doing, is what informs the field. Right now, your experience has been informed through the small self. And as this structure of personality begins to be dismantled, dissolved, and remembered in its true state. How is this? The personality self is meant to, or your proclivities are meant to be part of a human experience. I like mangoes. I don't like a gray day. These things are fine things. You may have your preferences, but you no longer think I am the one that likes the mangoes. You no longer hold it as part of your identification. Although you may still have a preference, your preference isn't an identity. So, as such, this egoic structure starts to become dissolved. And there is a pure knowing that expresses through or is informed through your physical body. And this is called the divine mind. This pure knowing is a divine mind. And this is what does the change. Now the house that was built on the toxic soil, all of its inhabitants have in some shape, way, or form, all different. One might have this ailment, one might have that ailment, one might have this, one might have that, but all have been affected by the toxic waste. And the toxic waste must not be seen as bad. The house, there must be no blame. There must be an understanding of the fact that all of this was done, all of this was born, all of this toxicity was created through separation, was created through the not knowing of your divinity, of the divinity of all things. If one is divine, all must be divine. Right now you hold a separation, only these are divine and these are not. These circumstances are divine and these are not. If you live in a mansion, it is divine. And if you live in like on the street, this isn't bad. Now we understand to those that are experiencing homelessness or are living on the streets or are living in places where they're showing me like buildings that are falling apart and dripping with water and no water in the taps. Like there's there's nothing in the faucet. They're showing me like somebody hitting a faucet for water. And of course you would say this is a horrible situation. And yes, from one perspective, you could say that, but the times are calling you to a higher perspective, which is a knowing, a clear knowing. When you are in the air off the diving board, you land in a clear knowing of all things as divine, born into form, with an agreement to have an experience for the benefit of all, for the knowing of the truth of who you are. So we don't diminish what has happened. We say that it has come from an agreement of like all people coming into an agreement to be born into form to change the field, but some got lost on the way. Some got greedy on the way. There was a time upon this earth where there was much wisdom and civilizations that were far more advanced than you are now. And they have met with a demise because they became very greedy and they tried to become God themselves. And as such, they met with a demise. They tried to be God. They tried to artificially create a world and people in such a way that you will not relive this. You will, although you are trying to, many are trying to, but you will not relive this. You will see that this cannot be. You cannot relive this. Instead of they wanted to play God, they wanted to be gods. In separateness, instead of in the realization that all is God. There once was a time when there was a realization of all of God, all of source, all of one. And we won't get into a history lesson, but we will say what is pertinent to today. That there has been many bright times and dark times, and many catastrophes. You will not do this. You will not redo what has been done. The time of this imprint is going to stop, and it is stopping slowly. But all things must be seen in love. Things cannot be seen as this was a very bad time. The three-dimensional times were a very bad time. No. They were just a time in which divinity manifested so that all could know and be known as one. And as we said, some got lost along the way, but now you will be found in your heart with the love that you are. Someone else isn't finding you, and you're not finding like how you would say you're finding like Jesus. You're not finding something outside of you, and you are realizing this. So if you have a belief in Jesus, and they respect that not all do, but if this was you, you would find that Jesus is in you, and you would see that God is in you. You are one and the same, and there is no separation. The time of separation is over. However, before this, as we talked before, there is construction. There is a dismantling of systems. And it might seem very up in the air, like the diving board, Iyakara-san, there may be times that seem painful, but dear ones, do not fret about this, because as the flower, as the seed must bloom, it must like crack open to go through the earth to bloom. So must you. And everything that was built in this three-dimensional template is not being left behind. It is being re-seen and re-known into a higher vibrational frequency. You see it as energy expressed at a lower vibration. And as such, there are only certain manifestations that can take place within this lower vibrational frequency. Like if you were playing a piano, in a lower octave, you could sing a song, but you would never hit the high notes. You would hit the high notes within only that octave. So that octave would have a high note, but that's as high as it could go. And that's what you're experiencing right now. This is as high as you can go in this template. And for you to go higher, you must it's not leave this template, because they're saying leave this octave vibrationally, but you don't leave it behind. It is included so that it may be played. The song that was played, I was trying to figure out how this is. The song that was played here can be played in a new frequency. Can be played in a higher level. You leave nothing behind. It is transmuted and transformed. So yes, we would agree that some systems, like political systems, for example, will not come to the higher, but that does not mean that the energy that those systems were is left behind. That energy is transformed into something new. For example, right now you create weapons of war, guns and bombs and such. But did you know that that exact same energy that you use to make those things could be used for the greater good of all? Energy is energy, and it can be used any way. You can pick up a rock and build a house. You can pick up a rock and build a dam. You can pick up a rock and throw it at a house or a person. You may do many things. And indeed, and in fact, you will do great things for humanity. And for this we thank you. Okay, so we bring through an energy attunement now to support these times. So if you say yes, we say yes. Your heart, our heart, one heartbeat. And we bring this through to support the fluctuations in the physical body, in the emotional body, in the energy bodies, and in the collective field, and in the individual field. Glorious, 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 you shall do. What is yours to do? Which is the ayusokoro, sowing the seeds of divinity, watering them well, and allowing them to bloom. You are part of the bloom. As such, you must bloom. So you must reach for the light. You are a seed. You are a seed that is in bloom. You must reach for the light. But you don't have to strive for this light. The light is in you. Indeed, the seed is wise. It knows how to bloom. Given the right conditions. Let's create those conditions now. Energetically. You say yes. To put you in alignment with the perfect conditions for your bloom. And the collective bloom. Ani koto sho ni akarata kishi ini akarasoto korosoti atakarasata koroto Nishi awaketese eketese. Things will never be the same. Iakarasai chikarasa karasa chikara. Dear one, iakarasai chikarasa kerasa. Fret not. Iokorosochi akarasa chikarasa karasa tikia karasa kotoso. We play the song of divinity now. Iokoroso. It is our song to play. Iniokoroso kia karasa. We are one. Iakarasai chikara takara. In this you can rest. In this you can know. Iakarasa, an internal knowing, wisdom knowing. Your heart at peace has always been, will always be at peace. Though the sights may change, they may crumble before your eyes. You may see the things of destruction. Fear not. Things must come down. All must be seen in love. And we speak now to the parts of you that resist, that do not wish to see all things as divinity, that do not wish to see that as of divine. We release resistance. When you release resistance, you understand. When you say yes, together we do this. Because resistance can't lay where we are. We have no resistance. We merge with you, with your field. And as such, the resistance releases. That was a relief. Ini kwata shi iwi au si kwiene kare so chikai kuro so chokere brekte shini kara. They're bringing in your ancestors. Iokoroso chikarasa ancestors. Iokoroso to guide your way. Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what they're bringing in now, what they're calling your ancestors, and all of like what you would say, like you would maybe identify as like a starseed, and they're bringing like all these beings, from all these different star systems and like planets. Are these planets? Other planets? Yes. And clusters. Star clusters. Yes. That are imparting a wisdom like upon you. Now, like your ancestors and your like through time, if you would like to call it this. Can we call it this? Yes. Through time, like your roots, to bring you back to your only root, which is one. And everything else that you have experienced from every other lifetime has been an expression or a branch of this. And these branches now, you could say, everything is like, the leaves are falling, and all of the energy is coming back down to the roots, to the core. And there's like a burning fire here, and a light. And you will know. And so it is. It is done, and it always has been, always will be. So how can it not be done? So. And they hug now. You can hug them back if you like. And they love. And send love. Okay, I'm just checking if this is it now. And they say yes. This is their message for today. Be as you be, as you be, as you be present, be present, be present. Your presence is what is informing the field. Your thoughts, your energy, and everything is informing the field. And everyone can experience the field or feel the field. So, and they wink. Inform it well. With the divinity, the song of divinity. And we thank you. From our hearts, which is your heart also. May you feel the deep gratitude here for our unity. Okay, thank you so much to the guides for this transmission today. And thank you so much for sharing this with us. And as always, we're sending you so much love. Thank you.